radiating from the Lone Star State and stretching from coast to coast and border to border. This is OnRadio, the weekly download from your family of companies: CMS Wireless, Enertech, ET Tower, Legacy, and Mountain Wireless. Welcome to OnRadio.
There are a lot of Ontivity people who just are not old enough to be considered legends, but in reality, in a lot of ways, they are. And those are the folks who are featured in the series that we're going through now called Growing Up Wireless, which is kind of cool because many of the people who work in our family of companies have literally grown up in the business of wireless infrastructure. And they have been a witness to the technology that has transformed, like these things, transformed the way America not only communicates but lives, which is cool. And I can tell you firsthand that our guest today qualifies as having grown up in the wireless industry. And in fact, his first job was, John Johnson, what was your first job?
I started off as, in the wireless industry as a tower hand, green, no clue what I was doing or really what I was getting into. I just knew it was a new path and a fresh start. Very cool. And you were right out of school, weren't you? I've been out of school for a couple years. I started at age 21 I'm from Montana. My parents have a ranch up there, and I was a ranch kid and working for the county and then working for the local co-op, when I got this opportunity brought before me to come to Colorado and do wireless. I jumped on it. It was exciting to me. It was something new. Right on. Now, I've heard some stories about that, and I think something about your mother said, hey, stop leaning on the shovel and get out of Montana. Is that accurate? They were sad to see me go. I wanted more in life. I wanted to be part of something. So what year was this? That was in 2001. 2001. Wow, that's the same year a lot of these businesses were actually started. So, wow, you really did grow up wireless. So why did you, as you look across the landscape, even in 2001, there was lots of choices. Why did you choose Mountain Wireless? Honestly, my best friend, his uncle, Randy at the time, he owned Mountain Wireless. We were looking for a change in Montana, and Randy offered us a job, and we packed up everything we owned and we drove to Colorado, and we had no idea what we were getting in. We were young kids, ages 20 and 19. And so when you say we, what are you talking about? A friend of mine, Randy's nephew, came. It was his phone call that got us in here. Oh wow! So you slid in under the family carpet thing. Right? I did. So at that point, how big was Mountain? How many crews or how many people or whatever? Man, at that time, it seems like there was only about 20 people. Yeah. 22. Maybe four crews. Four or five crews. It was small. And every job was urgent, wasn't it? It was crazy how just everything was. In Montana, it seems like things almost went in reverse. Like things were so slow, and I jumped into Colorado into the wireless game, and it was rush, and just fast paced. Welcome to the crisis. The next crisis is 10 minutes from now or tomorrow, whichever. But it's on its way. It's coming. Yeah, exactly. So if you look back, everybody, without fail, that I talk to has spent any time in this business remembers day one in wireless. What was your first day like? My first day was exciting, scary, all in one. I remember we went to Colorado Springs and I saw my first tower, and it was a 100-foot monopole. They said, "Would you like to climb that and go up?" I was no. So tapping out. Yeah. So I stayed on the ground for a couple days, and by the end of the week, like my fourth day, I said, "You know what? I would like to go up." They got me harnessed up and got all the safety gear on me, and I climbed to the top of a 100-foot monopole and realized at that point I didn't really like monopoles. So. Yeah. Doesn't take you many feet to figure out your monopoles are not your favorite, does it? Right. When the truck is disappearing underneath you, and with a little bit of wind, I realized that wasn't a fan of them.
day one, week one, month one, first year, what was the impact upon you in your life?
It was a big impact. I knew right away that this was going to be the next big thing. I knew cell phones were going to take off. Communications, everybody needs it. The first couple of months was just trying to get my feet under me and understand what I was doing or what I was supposed to do and where I was supposed to go, and that just transpired, just moving up, trying different things as part of the company. And
you, from early on, foresaw that this was going to be some type of a career opportunity. Is that accurate?
It is. Probably a couple months in, I realized with how fast-paced everything was and how much technology, was kind of moving forward, that this was going to be a career opportunity of a lifetime. I wanted to be part of it.
And it actually turned out that way. And you're now the vice president of operations at Mountain Wireless. You got like buku people. You're keeping everybody busy and all that kind of stuff. Very cool. But coming up, there are some people who impacted you, who said, hey, I'm going to take you under my wing. I'm going to teach you some stuff. I'm going to mentor you. So who are some of the people that you first worked with that helped you along this path?
Well, probably the biggest one is going to be Ryan Hansen.
Dude, you're going to blow his head up so big. Yeah.
When I first
Ethan,
started,
don't edit this part out because, we're going to watch Ryan's head just explode.
I was telling Ethan when I first started, I started on the tower side. I did tower work for a couple years. It seemed like there was always a need for installation technicians at our place. There was always weekend work, and I took every bit of that as I could. I wanted to learn as much as I possibly could and move forward. And that turned into all of a sudden me becoming, way less of a tower guy and more of an installation technician and really figuring out the critical things. And then from that point on, I kind of worked with Ryan hand in hand for quite some time and, just went from there.
All right. So other than Ryan, give somebody else a little prop or a little credit because he can't have it all.
There would probably be Lane Sinicki. He was a tower hand at the time for us, and David Ornelas. They're both big tower guys. They knew a lot and they were great to learn from.
And so how did they teach you? What was the methodology? I mean, in my world, it was like, and this is in the 1970s. They said, "Here's your harness. It's actually a lineman belt. Get up there, and if you fall, you better die before you hit." And that was the training. But there's obviously more that happened with you. You had people mentoring you.
We had better gear than lineman harnesses, but we were figuring it out as we went. It was still new to us as well. The learning how to use the equipment properly was big. Dave and Lane were both big on safety and teaching us how to properly use the gear. And we didn't have all the cool features and classes we do nowadays. Back then it was kind of a one-day course, and here you go, you're a tower guy now. There was no tower technician 1, 2, foreman. It was just here's some gear and there's the tower, and
you are now trained. Don't screw up.
Yes, don't fall.
All right. So you've also seen, above and beyond safety, which is obviously our core value, you have also seen technological changes within our industry that have really changed the face of not only our industry, but of Mountain Wireless. So what are some of the changes that you've seen that have been amazing to you?
A lot of the changes have been, going from all these different technologies for these carriers and really kind of, it's just one thing after another. You feel like you got a grip on something and bam, something new comes out and it just changes the world. And honestly, I just wanted to be a part of that. And seeing all these changes for the better, I wanted more and more and more. I wanted to learn and understand it. And I was always the guy in the corner reading the manual to a power plant or to a piece of 3G equipment or, trying to understand how it works. Because I feel that understanding how it works is how you learn. Anybody can tell you to go do something, you can go do it. But if you don't understand how it works, you really don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, so add some perspective for our climbers out there. When you remember the first antenna that you touched, how many ports were on the bottom of it?
I think it was a 2-port antenna, if I'm not mistaken. And I believe the first time I touched it, there was only one line going to it. And when we left, I believe we added a second line.
Yeah. So there was actually an antenna that transmitted and received both. It was amazing changes, right?
It was.
Yeah, there are market changes that have happened as well. Did you guys ever work on Nextel?
No Nextel work, but we did. We did a lot of the big pushes for Verizon and AT&T.
Yeah.
We did a lot of the 3G or analog to 3G, and then 3G to 4G, and then 4G to 5G. We've been major participants in those changes.
For sure. Now, did you ever work, because of the Denver tie, did you ever work for Quest Wireless, Ride the Light?
No.
Oh wow, we did actual work for Quest Wireless, and it was pretty amazing to see them get gobbled up. So many of them have.
Right. Actually, I'll recant that. We did do some Quest sites right when I first started, but it was very few. It was like some coax ads, and I honestly don't even remember what we did for them. It was so long ago, but we did do a little bit for them. I remember it was short-lived.
Well, now you've seen Mountain morph from a wireless infrastructure company to a wireless infrastructure / technology company / DAS - small cell. It really, when you look at the delivery of wireless, it's a lot of in-building. What changes are you looking forward next to seeing within our industry?
I think there's going to be a lot of satellite stuff coming. I believe that there's going to be something bigger and better. There always is,
Yeah.
Satellite driven phones, less cell site, footer. I believe there's going to be something bigger and better.
Yeah. Because we still have to increase the density. So I think there's a huge number of macro towers we're still going to have to roll out, and small cell and DAS and all that kind of stuff too. But you have had a really broad experience as a climber, and then as a top hand, and then as a foreman, and client lead, if you will, and now VP Ops. Tell us about the career progression and what you think would help the person coming up behind you to understand what to do next.
I think the big thing is honestly taking notes and really understanding what you're doing, and it helps you to move forward, work with your clients, take those hard conversations, learn from anybody you can, take as much knowledge as you can and apply it. And I think with hard work and good work ethic, you can go anywhere.
Yeah. I think one of the things that I see across our family of companies is that the people who actually end up in the management roles are people who are just kind of intrinsically curious. And I put them under the category of learners. Is that your experience?
It is. I feel that a lot of people that have moved forward are people that really, really are excited about this industry and just can't get enough of it, just curious of what the next step brings.
And there's this intrinsic, need to know. Yeah. Now, you went from, here's your job, don't fall, to here's your job. You've got to care for and train all these people, not only not to fall, but to add all this technological marvel somehow that exists between your ears. And now you got to translate that to a guy who's remote in the field that you may have only met a couple of times. Tell me what that responsibility is like.
It's a big responsibility and undertaking, but it's really no different than before. You talk to them like they're a human being, become friends with them. I feel that that's important. Understanding their life and what's going on in it, I truly believe is a big step in being able to communicate with them and move forward.
Yeah, and we always feel a ton of pressure to keep our people working and that 40-hour plus check coming in, don't we?
We do. We kind of pride ourselves at Mountain Wireless for over the years, always trying to get 40 hours for our guys, whatever we can do, whether it's clean the warehouse or detailing trucks, if whatever it takes to get 40 hours, it's a big responsibility to make sure everybody can feed their families and get a paycheck.
You know, and that pressure is real, and people a lot of times don't understand the why. But we see these spouses and these kids, and we're going to meet them somewhere around town or at a movie theater or at a grocery store or at a gas station, and they look at us, you know, and they're grateful because that trip to the grocery store is the result of you're putting the effort in to make sure they get that 40 hours, isn't it?
It is, and it's a big responsibility, and you know, I feel that trying to bring that work in and always looking for new work and making sure everybody has something to do is a little difficult at times, but it's super important to make sure that we stay running and everybody stays, you know, employed.
It's incredibly important. So number one, I salute you for that, but you're bringing up people underneath you now that you're training them with that same sense of urgency, aren't you?
I am. We have a lot of great guys here, and a lot of them are just like me. They want to learn more and more and more. And, you know, I have separate little mentorship moments with all my guys, sometimes at 6 a.m., 6:30 a.m. And, you know, we sit down and really talk about the day and, you know, what they got to do to move forward. And it's been good. It's been really good.
We just want to say thank you, John, for taking some time to chat with us and letting us look into the life of growing up wireless, and great perspective from someone who literally did grow up in our industry. And we're able to chat with you today because you chose safety every time. So remember, until next Thursday, let's all choose safety today. This is Jim, and I am out.